The whole thing started because Triple H was bored and, when a guy like Triple H gets bored, things get weird. He was just sitting in his giant office staring at a picture of a cheeseburger, so he called Logan Paul and Seth Rollins.
"I have an idea," he said.
And honestly, that's usually where the trouble begins. His big idea? To go through a fast food drive-thru 1,000 times in a single day. For charity or something, mostly for fun. It sounded completely ridiculous, which is probably why Logan and Seth immediately said yes.
Logan, of course, saw it as a massive opportunity for a viral video. He showed up with more cameras than a movie studio.
So there they were, on Friday, July 25th, 2025, sitting in a huge SUV at the back of the line at Burger Blast. Triple H was driving, looking very serious, like he was planning a WrestleMania match. Seth was in the passenger seat, already looking like he regretted his life choices. And Logan was in the back, surrounded by cameras, tripods, and a drone that was buzzing like an angry bee. He was already live streaming to millions of people.
"What's up, Logang? Today, we are going to do something no one has ever done before. We are going to conquer this drive-thru."
The poor kid at the order window had no idea what was about to hit him. Their first lap was pretty normal. Triple H ordered a single cheeseburger, a small fries, and a large soda. He paid with a crisp $100 bill and told the cashier to keep the change. The cashier's eyes went wide. They collected their food, drove around the parking lot, and immediately got back in line. Lap 2 was the same. And lap 3. By lap 4, the cashier, a teenager named Kevin, started to look confused.
"Didn't I just see you guys?"
Triple H just winked.
"We're hungry," he said.
"Lap number 4 and the tension is building. Kevin the cashier is onto us. Will our cover be blown?"
The plan was simple, if a little insane. Order 1 meal per lap, drive around, repeat 999 more times, donate all the food to people who need it. It sounded noble, but mostly it was just an excuse to do something completely bonkers. Triple H had a cooler full of water and energy drinks in the trunk. Seth had brought a pillow, which was probably the smartest move of the day. Logan had enough batteries and memory cards to film a feature-length movie trilogy. They were prepared for a long day. A very, very long day of burgers, fries, and driving in a slow, endless circle. The first couple of hours were actually pretty fun. It was a novelty.
On lap 7, Seth tried to order in a high-pitched squeaky voice, pretending to be a cartoon character.
The cashier just blinked and handed them their food.
On lap 10, Logan tried to pay with a giant prop check made of cardboard.
Triple H had to step in with real money before they got kicked out. They laughed so hard that Seth almost choked on a French fry. The live stream chat was going crazy. People were making bets on how long they would last. Most people thought they wouldn't even make it to 100 laps. By lap 14, the initial excitement was starting to wear off. The jokes weren't as funny, and the car was starting to smell like a deep fryer. Seth was getting really antsy. He couldn't sit still.
"I can't do this," he whined, slumping down in his seat. "We've been here for an hour, and we're not even at 2% of the goal."
Triple H, ever the leader, tried to keep the mood up.
"Think of the content, Seth. Think of the clicks," he said, sounding a lot like Logan.
Logan, of course, was having the time of his life. He was interviewing the hubcaps, filming ants on the pavement, and asking his followers to vote on what they should order next. The boredom was setting in like a thick fog. To pass the time, they started making up stories about the other people in the drive-thru line. The minivan in front of them, a family of international spies on a secret mission, the old pickup truck behind them, driven by a retired astronaut who had been to the moon. It was silly, but it helped kill a few minutes each lap. They blasted music with the windows down, singing along terribly to pop songs. Other drivers stared, but nobody seemed to mind. It was just another weird day in the neighborhood. By the time they hit lap 100, a small crowd had started to form in the parking lot. People had seen Logan's stream and came down to watch the madness in person. The restaurant manager came out looking worried, but Triple H assured him they would pay for everything and that it was all for a good cause. The manager, seeing a celebrity and a camera crew, just shrugged and went back inside, probably to call his boss. They celebrated their 100-lap milestone by ordering 10 milkshakes and having a contest to see who could drink one the fastest.
Logan won, but Seth got a brain freeze so bad he had to lie down in the back seat for the next 3 laps.
Around lap 250, things took a turn. The sun was high in the sky, the car was hot, and the smell of greasy food was becoming unbearable. Seth had fallen completely silent and was just staring out the window with a blank expression. He looked like a zombie from a horror movie. On one lap, he got so fed up with waiting that he just opened his door, walked to the window, and grabbed the bag of food himself. The poor cashier, Kevin, looked terrified, like he was being robbed by a very tired and grumpy rock star. Triple H and Logan just sat in the car laughing their heads off. The boredom was now a real problem. Triple H, always the innovator, decided they needed to get out of the car. He spotted a man mowing the lawn across the street. He jogged over, had a quick chat, and came back a few minutes later driving the man's ride-on lawnmower. He did a full lap of the drive-thru on the lawnmower, ordering a salad with a very serious face.
Logan, not to be outdone, found a golf cart that belonged to a nearby apartment complex. Soon both of them were racing around the parking lot between laps, Triple H on his mower and Logan in his golf cart, leaving Seth to guard the SUV.
Seth, however, had his own plans. While the other two were goofing off, he hatched a little scheme. He grabbed a pile of food bags from the back of the SUV, put on a Burger Blast hat he'd somehow acquired, and stood near the exit of the drive-thru. As cars came out, he would run up to them and hand them a free bag of food.
Surprise, free lunch.
People were totally confused but happy to get free food. The restaurant manager came out again, looking even more stressed, but Seth just gave him a charming smile and a free burger. The chaos was escalating. Logan had attached a camera to the golf cart and was getting action shots of Triple H's lawnmower race. A small crowd of onlookers cheered them on. The drive-thru line was getting longer, not because the restaurant was busy, but because people were slowing down to watch the circus in the parking lot. Seth was now directing traffic, waving cars through like a pro. He was having way more fun being a rogue employee than he was being a passenger. It was official. The mission had devolved into pure, unadulterated silliness. Even with all the goofing around, the pace was slowing down. By lap 400, they were all feeling the exhaustion. Triple H knew they needed help. He made a few phone calls.
The cavalry's on its way, he announced, sounding like a general calling in an airstrike.
An hour later, a shiny black car pulled into the parking lot, and out stepped Cody Rhodes. He was dressed in a perfect suit, looking like he was ready for a business meeting, not a drive-thru marathon. He looked at the chaos in the parking lot, Triple H on a lawnmower, Logan filming everything and Seth directing traffic, and just shook his head with a smile. Cody was a professional. He immediately took charge of the logistics.
Okay, we need a system, he said, clapping his hands together. We need one car for ordering and another car for deliveries.
He had brought his own car, so now they had a two-car operation. Cody would take the SUV, which was now basically a food warehouse on wheels, and start making delivery runs. His first stop was a local elementary school, just as the kids were getting out for the day. He handed out burgers and fries to delighted children and confused parents. But Triple H wasn't done. He made another call. Soon after, another car arrived, and the legendary Booker T stepped out. He was wearing sunglasses and had a huge smile on his face.
"You cats are crazy," he laughed, looking at the scene. "I heard you were having a party and didn't invite me."
Booker T's job was simple: keep the energy up. He took over the speaker, ordering food with his signature catchphrases.
"Can I get a burger? Can you dig it, sucker?"
The employees inside were losing their minds with laughter. With Cody handling deliveries and Booker T hyping up the drive-thru line, things started moving faster. The mood was electric again. Logan was now filming a super team of wrestlers taking over a fast food joint. Seth was back in the car with Triple H, and with Booker T's commentary booming from the speaker, the laps started flying by. They were a well-oiled, slightly ridiculous machine. The parking lot had turned into a full-blown party. With the new team assembled, the stunts got even more ridiculous. The goal wasn't just to get to 1,000 laps anymore, it was to see who could be the most absurd.
So, I spotted this little girl watching us with her dad. She had this tiny pink bike with training wheels and like these wild, colorful streamers on the handlebars. I just had to ask if I could borrow it.
A minute later, Logan was wobbling his way through the drive-thru line on a bike that was way too small for him, his knees pretty much hitting his chin. He almost fell over twice, but somehow made it to the window and ordered a single apple pie.
Man, all that action made me thirsty. But you know me, I couldn't just order a soda. I went ahead and asked for one of every single drink on the menu.
The cashier had to call for help just to carry the giant tray of drinks to the window. Booker T then walked down the line of waiting cars handing out free drinks to everyone.
"Stay hydrated, playas."
He was like a one-man party host. He even got some of the other customers to do his signature spin-a-rooney right there in the parking lot. The whole place was buzzing with energy, all thanks to him. Then, I had my most brilliant and probably terrible idea of the day. I pulled out my phone and called the local police department, but I didn't report a crime. I used the non-emergency line to place a food order. "Yes, hello? I'd like to order 50 cheeseburgers for the officers on duty," I said into the phone, trying not to laugh. The dispatcher was completely baffled. A few minutes later, a police car pulled up, lights off, and 2 officers got out, looking very confused. I explained the situation, and they ended up leaving with a trunk full of food and big smiles on their faces. The afternoon became a blur of one crazy stunt after another. Seth tried to pay for an order by singing a song he made up on the spot about hamburgers.
Hamburgers, oh hamburgers, let me pay you with this tune, cause cash is overrated and I'm hungry real soon.
Cody came back from a delivery run and did a lap walking on his hands.
Well, folks, that's one way to work off the fries.
Logan tried to teach the drone to pick up a bag of fries and deliver it to their car, which, ended with the drone crashing into a bush. They weren't just going through a drive-thru, they were putting on a full-blown variety show for an audience of fast food customers and online viewers. With hundreds of meals piling up, Cody Rhodes kicked the delivery operation into high gear. The back of his SUV was stacked floor to ceiling with bags of burgers, chicken nuggets, and fries. His first major stop was the local hospital.
All right, let's do this. Let's bring some smiles today.
He walked into the emergency room waiting area with armfuls of food. The nurses, doctors, and waiting patients were shocked, then thrilled. For a few minutes, the tense, quiet waiting room was filled with the happy sounds of people enjoying a surprise, hot meal.
Thank you all so much for everything you do. Seriously, y'all are the real heroes.
Next on the list was the police station and the fire department. After Triple H's earlier phone call, the police were expecting them. Cody and Seth loaded up the car and drove over to the station.
Man, I've never seen so many cops excited about burgers in my life.
They were greeted by a whole squad of officers who helped them unload the food. The firefighters at the station next door saw what was happening and came over too. Soon, the entire group of first responders was enjoying a massive lunch, courtesy of the drive-thru crew. It was a small way to say thank you to the people who kept the community safe.
Now that's what I'm talking about. Everybody eats today, baby.
The biggest delivery, however, was to a local youth center and several schools. They timed it perfectly, arriving just as after-school programs were in full swing. Cody, Booker T, and Seth became heroes for the day, handing out hundreds of meals to kids. The children were ecstatic to see the famous wrestlers, and even more excited about the free food.
Who wants a burger? Who wants some fries?
Can you dig it, kids? Free food and a little basketball? Let's go!
I'm signing autographs, but only if you promise not to dunk on me.
They signed autographs, took pictures, and even joined in a quick game of basketball at the youth center. They made sure not a single French fry went to waste. The food giveaway became a central part of the whole event.
Guys, my live stream is blowing up. Look at all these comments. People are loving this.
Logan's live stream showed clips of the happy faces at the hospital, the grateful first responders, and the cheering kids. The comments section, which had been full of jokes, was now flooded with positive messages. People were praising them for turning a silly stunt into a genuinely kind act. It proved that even the craziest ideas can have a good heart behind them. The drive-thru marathon wasn't just about them anymore. It was about spreading a little bit of joy, and a lot of burgers, to their community. As evening approached, they needed new ways to keep things interesting. That's when Seth came up with the Alphabet Challenge.
Okay, hear me out. 26 laps, right? Each time we order something that starts with the next letter of the alphabet. Let's see if we can make it all the way from A to Z.
Oh, I'm in. A is for apple pie, obviously.
B has to be burger.
C for chicken sandwich, baby.
It started off easy but got tricky fast.
What are we gonna do for Q, man?
I got it. Quintessentially quality quencher, which is just water, but it sounds fancy.
For X they were stumped until Logan cleverly ordered extra pickles.
I'll take a burger with extra pickles. Boom! Nailed it!
The challenge led to some silly arguments.
For I want iced tea.
But Triple H insisted on ice cream cone. They argued about it for a whole lap, like two brothers on a road trip.
No way, man, iced tea is superior.
Alright, chat, you decide, tea or cone?
The viewers sided with Seth and Triple H had to grumpily order the iced tea. The bickering was all in good fun and it made the laps go by faster. It felt less like a world record attempt and more like a bunch of friends just hanging out. The physical comedy also continued. At one point, Triple H pretended to fall asleep at the wheel, just as they were pulling up to the window. He slumped over, and Seth had to shake him awake when the cashier opened the window.
Wake up, man, we've got more laps to do.
You guys again? Come on, I've seen better acting in soap operas.
The cashier, who was now totally used to their nonsense, just rolled her eyes and played along. Later, Seth and Logan got into a playful chase scene around the car, running in circles like kids in a schoolyard, all because Logan stole the last French fry from the box.
Catch me if you can, Seth.
Give me back my fry, you menace.
They also started involving the staff more. They learned all the employees' names and would greet them personally on each lap.
Hey Maria, what should we order this time?
Surprise me, huh? Okay, how about you try the spicy nuggets and tell me a joke while you're at it?
The Burger Blast crew was having almost as much fun as they were. The manager, who had been so stressed earlier, was now taking pictures with them and posting them on the restaurant's social media.
Say cheese, fellas. This one's going straight to our Instagram.
The drive-thru had become the most entertaining spot in town, a place where you could get a burger and a show. As the clock ticked past 10 p.m., the exhaustion was undeniable. Booker T and Cody Rhodes had to head home, leaving the original trio to finish what they started. The parking lot crowd had thinned out, leaving only the most dedicated fans. The energy was lower, but their determination was stronger than ever. They were on lap 900 with only 100 more to go. The finish line was in sight, but it felt like a million miles away.
I'm not gonna lie, I might actually be dreaming right now.
Seth was half asleep in the passenger seat, his head resting against the cool glass of the window. Triple H kept them going. He was the captain of the ship, steering them through the final grueling hours.
Triple H, you got one more story in you, man?
He put on some loud rock music to keep them awake and started telling old stories from his wrestling career. He talked about his biggest matches, his funniest road trip moments, and the lessons he'd learned over the years. Logan put his camera down for a bit and just listened. And even Seth seemed to perk up. It was a quiet, shared moment between three friends, a calm in the middle of their chaotic day. Even though they were tired, the fun wasn't completely gone. On lap 950, Logan decided he needed to stretch his legs.
I'm running this lap. I gotta move or I'll turn into a French fry.
He got out of the car and jogged the entire lap alongside the SUV, giving Triple H a thumbs up as he ran. For lap 975, Seth insisted they all order milkshakes and toast to the dumbest, most fun idea ever.
To the dumbest, most fun idea ever. Cheers, guys.
They clinked their plastic cups together, smiling tiredly. Each lap was now a small victory, another step closer to their insane goal. The employees at Burger Blast were their biggest cheerleaders. They had a handmade sign in the window that said, "Go for 1,000, you can do it." They would give them words of encouragement on every pass.
Only 10 more to go, you're almost there.
The support from the staff gave them a final burst of energy. They knew they weren't just doing it for themselves or for the live stream anymore. They were doing it for Kevin and the whole crew who had been with them on this wild ride all day. Lap 999. A hush fell over the car. They were all quiet, a mix of exhaustion and excitement. They pulled up to the speaker. Triple H took a deep breath.
Dude, this is actually happening.
For lap 999, he said, his voice raspy, "We'll have 3 waters, please." They collected their drinks and drove around one last time, the tires crunching slowly on the asphalt. The small group of remaining fans cheered. The moment was finally here. They pulled into the line for the very last time. For their 1,000th order, they didn't use the speaker. Triple H parked the car and all 3 of them walked up to the window. The entire night shift crew was gathered there, smiling and clapping.
We did it.
1,000, baby.
For our final order, Triple H announced, "We'd like 3 cheeseburgers and 3 Cokes, and we'd like to eat them with you guys." They bought meals for the entire staff and had a small celebration right there in the parking lot under the fluorescent lights. They sat on the curb with the employees eating burgers and talking about the crazy day.
Remember the lawnmower and the tiny bicycle? I still can't believe we survived the alphabet game.
This is the best midnight snack ever.
You all are wild, but honestly, this was the most fun we've had in ages.
Logan filmed the final moments, thanking the Burger Blast crew for being such good sports. As a final thank you, Triple H handed the manager a massive tip to be shared among everyone who had worked that day. It was far more than they ever expected, a generous end to a generous day. Finally, it was over. They cleaned up their mess, said their goodbyes, and piled back into the SUV one last time. As they drove out of the parking lot, they honked the horn in a final salute. The sun was starting to rise, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. They had actually done it, 1,000 laps. They were exhausted, they smelled like French fries, and they never wanted to see a drive-thru again. But they were happy. They had turned a ridiculous idea into an unforgettable adventure, and they had done it together.